What up, gamers? Fencer here, and welcome back to my reaction to the Theorizer's Pixar Mega Theory. So last time I watched it, the most believable Pixar theory ever posted, and now coming up, we do have a series of shorter videos here, so I do want to split things up. It is 6 videos in total when it comes to the shorter videos, and then the finale with their 1 hour video. But yeah, I think I will split things up into 2 videos of 3 theories. So coming up, we have the Incredibles fashion designer is a Yahtzee. I'm gonna say it like that because I'm not sure just how YouTube likes this word here. Inside Out is about organ harvesting. Okay. And Riley's brain was deleting joy. That's also I guess I can also see that too. You know, she is in a time of sadness, but yeah, first, let's go and watch the Incredibles theory here. Alright, like I said, we will first watch the Incredibles fashion designer as a Yahtzee, which is very interesting for a title because I feel like I've heard this point, at least somewhat similar point, being made from Alex Bale's Gamma Jack and Jack Jack theory, where I don't think she was called a Yahtzee, I don't believe so, but I think she was like, you know, all for the superheroes being like the supreme ones. So yeah, I think that's what was made over there. But this time we're getting a different angle, a Yahtzee. So we'll see how much different this will be here. And also, I do wonder if like I'll be seeing the same points from Alex Bale's video because yeah, his videos was from a couple of months ago. This video here, the Theorizers, was like around a year ago. So I feel like they might use the same scenes, maybe. We might get some repeats of evidence, but yeah, I guess we'll find out and see. So here we go, guys. But before we do, though, go ahead and check out the Theorizers channel, which will be linked down in the comments below when it comes to the videos that I've been watching here in this reaction video. So yeah, here we go, guys. Let's go and watch the Incredibles fashion designer as a Yahtzee.
Edna Mode is the real MVP of The Incredibles.
Yeah,
She's a
she can make
legendary
some
fashion
really great
designer, a
costumes that
brilliant scientist, and
works
a
well
mad
with
genius
the
in disguise, all while
superheroes.
being hilarious. But who is she really? Well, I've got our answer. It makes so much sense, and I promise that afterwards you'll agree with me.
And we'll see about that. I'll be the judge of that. Well, yeah, she's definitely, I guess, one of the more straightforward characters. She just makes the costumes, but I don't believe we've seen much of her history at all. Just that she used to
Hello,
works.
I'm the Theorizer, and Edna
No
is a little
Theorizer.
suspicious when it comes down to it. She doesn't have many scenes to go off of,
Yeah, that
but
she
there's stuff
just pretty much
between
works
the
with them in the
lines.
past, the
first
Incredibles
movie,
and other
we see her at
superheroes.
the wedding flashback, and in the present, Bob goes to her modern mansion to get a patch job on his supersuit. She immediately tries making him a whole new one with tracking capabilities and a better fit. She strongly advises against wearing capes and explains how tons of supers died, all because of, let's face it, her designs. When Helen finds out about the patch job, Edna tries inviting her over and reveals that she's created matching suits for the entire Incredible family down in her mad science lab. Ultimately, this spurs them all to fight the fight together and stop Syndrome from killing more superheroes. She's also there for the Parr family in the sequel, where she studies Jack Jack and learns of his many powers. She explains
Yeah.
how super babies work, and then calculates dimensions and transcends material science to create technology capable of containing him. She's like Q from James Bond, the gadget maker for the spies. She knows a lot.
I mean, I never
more.
got far
She's a
into James Bond,
futurist,
so
but she's also
I would not know that
fantastic
reference.
and frankly a legend. But we don't know much about her from what little we see. She's rich, intelligent, fashionable, and visionary, but seems
What
to
the heck
have
was that
closer to
little text that you guys saw? Like on the top right? I'm sure you guys saw that. I just want to read it because I feel like, it's a little fun secret or Easter egg that he might have put up. Okay. Man, look at these superheroes too, man. I kind of wish we saw them as well. Like I want to see like if that whole syndrome theory was real. Can you imagine like a whole story about that of like how these heroes went down? Yeah, would love to see that. I'm sure, it'll be the same story like of them going down, but it'll be fun. Maybe I don't know, maybe a bit dark for Pixar. Dang, how far did he just put it out there, man? I'm just like trying to go frame by frame. Maybe if I just pause it instead, like, look at this. It's the most replayed part. Probably everyone else is trying to do the same thing as me.
Intelligent, fashionable, and visionary, but seems to have
Okay.
close.
Did I skip out on it? I think so.
She's rich, intelligent, fashionable,
Syndrome Dad, is that what I saw? That was it? I mean, he does kind of look like Syndrome.
and visionary, but seems to have closer ties to the supers than anyone can imagine. Who is she really? How does she play into the whole superhero relocation program that everyone's a part of? She's more important here than almost anyone, but how so? And clearly she's mastered more than just fashion. Her true passion is powers and
Yeah.
understanding them. Just take a look at her secret laboratory. She describes the supers as gods, truly super models for her designs. How
Yeah.
does she have all this technology? Well, I think she's been in charge of something massive. She's not just the fashion girl, the gadget girl. She's the head honcho, in some sense. You might see where I'm going with this. If you've been with me for a while, you'll know of my extremely lengthy history with The Incredibles. My first real theories on it were my Syndrome videos, where I tried figuring out whether or not Syndrome could actually be a superhero.
Yeah, those were really good.
Conclusion, yeah, in fact, his entire base was his parents and Gazerbeam's base before he
Like
learned the
definitely up
truth
there for
about them
me for
and
me
offed them one by one,
being my
starting his
favorites.
descent into villainy, with Mirage possibly being a robot he created using his super intelligence. A year later, I also did cover the second movie and made a video discussing just how much Winston knew about his sister's plans before dropping the biggest bombshell of them all, solving the entire conspiracy of the government agency, Rick Dicker, who killed the Devers' parents, all of it, seamlessly. You see, all of this comes down to this pesky agency they're behind it. This also did end up tying together with a few other Pixar theories I made, culminating in the best theory video I've ever posted, bar none.
Oh, that's the
entitled
original
The Baby
title
Smoothie
there.
Theory, but
Okay.
that's for later. You see,
Yeah, one of you
through all
guys told me that
these,
was
I
the
had been talking and
like you did change up
revising
the
my
title
ideas
of
and working
every
on
now
how
and then.
things could tie into Edna without ever coming to a solid conclusion. But I understood this much: she knows a lot more than she lets on. For ages, I've endorsed the theory that she created Syndrome's suit and knowingly did so with a cape, so he'd be doomed to die. And I
Oh.
also now believe that yes, she created the family suits to motivate them all into action and gave Bob a tracker because she knew what was coming. Her smug, all-knowing face and attitude gives it away. She knows so much more about the agency and has a deep, deep connection with the government and supers as a whole. They always go to her for help. She's a mad scientist. She's connected to the agency, which Syndrome is a part of course linking back to the Smitty stuff, but she's not evil. She's something much wilder. She has the technology, she has the fashion, she has the sass, but it comes from a place of love
Here we
and
go.
regret for the flawed designs that have killed so many. I've realized that Edna's past becomes rather obvious once you consider a simple fact. The Incredibles takes place in a little bit of a heightened version of the 1950s.
Oh,
A bit
wow.
more technological, a bit more futuristic. And
So wait, this whole story? Yeah, so I assume he's saying that the whole incredible story takes place within the 50s, which I never knew about. So I thought maybe it would be, I mean, I never thought about it. I thought maybe it'll be around like, you know, like 90s or 2000s. But yeah, I guess 50s. I guess I can also see that too. I just never really thought about it until now. But that is curious. I'm guessing that means for the, you know, for the main part of the Incredibles. Like I'm just wondering now, like, just like how old was like how like what was the year at the beginning of the movie where they were all young and stuff? That's gotta be like what, like around the 1920s then, if I had to guess, just maybe around there in that range. Anyways, let's continue.
realize that Edna's past becomes rather obvious once you consider a simple fact. The Incredibles takes place in a little bit of a heightened version of the 1950s, a bit more technological, a bit more futuristic, and we know
Yeah,
full well why from my older videos, but
I just never
the
thought
point is
about it
that
until now.
supers
That's
are
pretty
all of
interesting
a
if
very
that is true.
distinct time period, the age of comics.
Yeah.
The patriotic heroes that save the day, the magical figures that break the mold and defeat the evils of the world war.
Yeah. Oh, another ad. Yeah, so I can see where he's coming from when it comes to the title of this video where she's a Yahtzee. Because, yeah, it's not, like, I guess too far when it comes to, like, the World War II, right? I think, I forgot the exact dates and stuff, but I know 1942 is one of the more important years. I'm not sure if that's where it ended or started, or, like, maybe, I'm gonna guess ended around there, maybe. But yeah, if that's the case, like, if it did end in 1942, then yeah, and if she is really a Yahtzee, then I guess maybe she was like some kind of like specialist or lab specialist for them, and she probably took all that to I guess help with the superheroes.
2. I am almost entirely certain that in real life, superhero comics were substantially respondent to the Great Depression, and more notably the war effort, as seen with Captain America and many others. And I believe this bleeds over into the
Mm,
entire point and mythos of The Incredibles, giving us every single answer. If you align it, it goes something like this. To try and defeat the Germans during World War II, the American government of the Incredibles started a program to heighten human physiology and defeat the enemy. Superheroes were made, augmented humans, as a direct advancement to the war effort in the 1940s alongside bombs, planes, submarines, and modern technology. The US government famously recruited German resistance members during this
okay.
period, such as Albert Einstein, I believe, Operation Paperclip they called it. It's
Oh,
well
was
known just how
Albert
advanced
Einstein
the
a
Germans sought to
German too?
be, infamously
I
scouring
never
the
knew
earth
that.
looking
If
for
that's
all
the
sorts of
case,
weaponry to fund their grandiose plans for world
at least part
domination.
of the resistance,
Their
I guess.
doctors and scientists were frighteningly unethical, of course,
I'm not sure that
and
means it
ran
to
human
be
experiments out the
German.
wazoo. I only bring this up because all of this is the same thing. The National Supers Agency is the US government's attempt to assimilate scientists from the German, Japanese, Italian axis with their own test subjects to create truly
Oh,
advanced superhumans out of public volunteers. And this is all
wow.
important today because in the interviews with Brad Bird, director of The Incredibles, he explains how difficult it was to cast Edna Mode. He was going for a very specific accent blend, so much so that he actually couldn't find anyone else to successfully voice Edna. So he quite amazingly did it himself, giving us
Mm.
the character we have today.
Okay, that's what I thought he would go into. That kind of reminds me in Shrek. I think I mean, I don't know if that's the same reason on why he voiced him, but like I remember in Shrek Forever After, I think that was also the case where I guess the voice of uh I forgot his name. It's a very unique name, like one of those fairy tale names. um but yeah, he just ended up voicing uh the antagonist of that movie.
What was this accent? What was he going for? Well, to create this perfect gadget gal, he explained that he drew directly from the two smallest countries with the two most slick and advanced technologies and designs. Ladies and gentlemen, Germany and Japan. This is explicitly
Mm.
displayed in every way by her design, and he chose, in the 1940s, to go for two specific countries that are technologically advanced out of the dozens to choose from. 2/3 of the Axis powers? People of the viewership, Edna Mode is a recruited World War II mad scientist. The fact that I can say this and have it make sense without even needing a colossal amount of evidence should tell you a lot. But in the event that you need a bunch, consult my baby Smitty theory because, dear God, this makes Edna central to everything, and her life story, if it clicks, would play out something like this. Edna Mode, a young woman of German and Japanese descent, is Germany's most valuable tool during their economic depression in the 1930s. Being at the highest levels
Okay.
of government and helping with their fashion and technology, she sees the signs. Things are headed for disaster. She explains when we first meet her that she often travels to Milan, Italy, working with their supermodels who only care for themselves. Her Axis ties just don't stop! Her heritage is Japanese. She knows what's going on in the Pacific. Living in Germany, she detects the first signs of incoming disaster and takes her intelligence and gets the hell out right before the country goes to shit. She flees to America and aids them with their poverty by providing technology to those in need. This genius woman would be the very first when it comes to BNL
Oh.
that AI company that runs everything in the US government in later films. She is given tools and money to fund real progress, creating heroes in the times of poverty, and most importantly, to aid in the coming war. In 1937, she creates the first superheroes, and hypothetically, these would be the two to give
So
birth to a
funny.
child, Buddy Pine, Syndrome himself. If my other theories are to be believed,
Can
he
I hear that
has
again? Hold
super
on.
Syndrome. Hypothetically, these would be the two to give birth to a child, Buddy Pine,
Mm,
Syndrome himself. If my
okay.
other theories are to be believed, he has super intelligence, rivaling the likes of Edna herself, but he's stunted by nature of being the very first born into it and has issues. Many more supers are now granted powers, courtesy
Okay.
of her knowledge of
I can see
nuclear
that.
mutation, and later the monster genome from Beyond the Veil, if you know what I'm referring to. Now, into the 1940s, Edna is viciously against her former home of Germany, and they are attempting to conquer the world. They are even using some of her old technology to do it as they seek out the supernatural and the remarkable. When they ally with her heritage of Japan and her associates of Italy, she has reached the breaking point and advises that they siphon over her associates in Operation Paperclip. In this heightened world of the Incredibles, Edna and her team would hypothetically be the ones using this knowledge of nuclear physics to create the atom bomb, a counter-agent to the fires of war
Oh
and
my
evils
gosh.
of mass cremation. We see her lust and her drive even later during her demonstrations when she has miniature nukes. The Incredibles takes place in 1962, meaning the glory days take place in
Oh,
1947, 2 years
1962 now. Okay.
after they drop the nuclear bomb to end the Pacific War. Syndrome, the resultant fallout from Edna's experiments, begins to lose his cool, and as ever, Edna sees it coming. As more and more of her associates die by the capes, and this killer in plain sight, Edna blends the two dilemmas and provides Syndrome with the instruments of his own destruction: artificial intelligence and a cape. Edna knows everything about the supers in these films. She explains how they grow, how they gain and lose powers, how they are as babies. She is the one. She is the mother of supers. That is her role. That is who she is. She knows everything. Mother of BNL spiraling out of control when she leaves her agency to the world powers. And ironically, this would make BNL and Disney the Germans' conquest. Founder of the supers, the Mad Doctor herself. It's fantastic. This flies directly into my baby Smitty theory again, which of course needs a follow-up and is gonna have one now. And recently I've also seen some posts from people who have now also seen the German-Japanese connection and immediately think she's evil, but no, dear people, she's the hero we all deserve. I'll cover this more in my next Pixar theory, but for now,
In the
make sure
next
to
Pixar
subscribe
theory,
and join my Patreon for early uploads and shoutouts in Discord,
we'll
which is
disconnect to
where I
the next
spend
one.
a great deal of my time.
I thought it was like
Honestly,
a
click the
different.
like button. I want a million.
I
And
thought
I
like it's
get
gonna
what
be
I want.
different with
Until
the
next
each
time,
of the
I'm
movies,
the Theorizer. Only question
like
now
series.
is who is this cape wearer Galbaki?
Okay. Yeah, very interesting, man. I think I didn't even know about her connections with I guess she was talking about he was talking about the accent, right? Where they try to go for have Germany and have Japanese. Yeah, I never thought about that. I think that's really interesting. And then also the whole Italy thing as well. Um yeah, I wasn't sure where he was gonna go. I wasn't sure if I would be hearing like repeat evidence from like Alex Bale's theory about, you know, a similar topic to this, but no, this was entirely different. And yeah, not what I expect. I thought he might go more down the evil route. I don't think, with the way he explained things that she's evil, like she, saw things happening like going down for Germany and decides to switch sides. But yeah, it was very interesting, man. I think this theory, I thought it was really good. All right, next up is Inside Out, is about organ harvesting, which is curious. I'm just wondering if we're just basing it on this playlist here, like when he said that he'll talk more about Edna in the next video, like, is it talking about this? Okay, it's getting a bit more freakier if that is the case, but even on its own, though, like, even without Edna, like, the title alone is kind of like, crazy. But yeah, I am not sure how he's going to, like, make the connections here. So here we go.
I played myself. The catch 22 I have put myself in is a complex yet quite preposterous one. Here I am, finding myself 2/15 of the way to solving Mort from Madagascar when I find a diabolical psychopath over yonder turning me inside out. In the Pixar film of that same name, we mostly focus on the personified emotions within people's heads, correct? Well, what if I informed you that I've found something new, something totally unrelated to my other 3-hour-long theory on the film? Because I have something new, something
3-hour theory.
shocking. I recoiled
That's
at
long.
the sight of what I saw when I saw it. During the dinner scene of Pixar's Inside Out, the mother and father's internal emotions keep trying to hint at each other about Riley's mental state. And when the father fails to live up to the mother's expectations, her emotions recall a much better prior love interest who'd have supposedly catered to her every need.
Yeah, I remember
dream
that.
situation. The next 3 seconds disgust me.
Come, fly with me, Gachinya.
Any other odd
Yeah, I
lackadaisical
remember that.
viewer of this scene might say, "Oh, comedy has entered the chat. How novel and fantastic." No. The mother's memory of this helicopter pilot has a deeper purpose that acts as the metaphysical key to a metaphorical lock on the conspiracy that is this animation. The Brazilian helicopter pilot is a serial organ harvesting international conman and war
Whoa.
criminal who swindles women with promises of exotic promiscuity in 1811 Chateau de Kim.
Alright, that's a wild thing to label him as. Alright, reminds me of like him just talking about Patrick being all like when he was like diagnosing him. Okay, apparently this guy, there's more to him. I only remember him for like a little bit though.
Hello,
I'm not sure how much he can.
And today we expose
the heck
this
was that?
karaoke for the
What the heck was that?
Hello, I'm and today we expose
Alright,
this
hello,
karaoke for
Theorizer.
the sicko he is. I would be totally fine if Riley's mom just had this memory, it would make sense, but for us to see the exact same memory down to every identical detail in Riley's teacher's head as well? What is going on here? How do they share an identical memory? Surprisingly, there's only 2 possibilities. This guy is either an
So that was the
actor
teacher?
of some sort, and this was a film or an ad many
Like the
people
one
have
with
seen,
the
or
like I saw that there were like
this is
different
a
hairs
pickup
with these
line he
guys.
uses on all women. We need to figure out which it is because one route means
Yeah, there.
these women are delusional over an actor they don't know, and the other route means this man is disingenuous, womanizing, and possibly even malicious. Here we go. Riley's mom.
I don't know, man. I mean, I thought it was just maybe something they saw from a show. I'm curious how he's gonna make the connection, man. This feels very far out.
Says she should have run off with him when she had the chance, and the teacher says that this summer
Oh.
she plans to vacation in the Bahamas with him. This implies that he is in fact a real person, but
Okay.
I'm suspicious. If he's some
I
actor
didn't
in a film,
remember that
then
moment.
This is a shared delusion. Both sets of emotions respond to the memory with completely identical mannerisms, so something might be psychologically twisted here. If somehow this teacher and mother share the same delusion, then this guy is at the center of a global conspiracy entailing mass hypnosis and population control within the Inside Out universe surrounding Riley Anderson. Very unlikely. So then, what if he is real and Riley's mom just so happened to meet him like her teacher? Well then, this must be the exact same location, same time of day, and he must be wearing the same clothing. All of that is possible, and not too unlikely if this is just his base of operations and style. What is not coincidental, though, is the same expressions. He uses the same intonation on the exact same catchphrase, doing the exact same thing. At this point, it becomes more than a coincidence. The memory is from the same angle as well, so they weren't just both there at the same time or something. But we have no further proof for the mass hypnosis delusion theory, so employing the spirit of Occam's razor takes us down path number con man, unless we
Okay.
hit some dead end, which is unlikely, you'll see. So he's basically a liar. This is his usual pickup line, he has rehearsed it, and it's
Yeah, that's what I thought too. Yeah, at first I thought maybe it was just like a, something that they saw from a like a show or something. That this guy was like doing a scene from a show. I mean, he did call him an actor and stuff, but I guess in a way he's still an actor because if he did meet them in real life, Like, yeah, he probably has done this like many times by now, where he memorized the lines and saying the same thing to like seduce women. I guess to organ harvest. I guess.
What he uses on multiple women.
Yeah.
This means it is high key disingenuous, and it certainly ain't true love. So then, does he just want women to sleep with him for a night, or is this more of a long term confidence trick? The teacher seems exceptionally convinced that she's going off to the Bahamas with him, which means it was more than one night, and he's kept in touch with her. This means he's playing the long game with his manipulation, meaning he either wants something truly important from her, or he's leeching off of her teaching job's salary. Maybe he wants a green card, but more likely he'd have one if he's really already rehearsed on that many women. If he's just making money off of her long term, then why a teacher? Surely he's already leeching off of more profitable women, which means he needs one specific important thing from her, and Riley's mom when he met her. This means he is going to rob her of something when she least possibly expects it, something that couldn't have been done during a helicopter ride or necessarily even during a one-night stand. She's a teacher, so she has a mild to moderate intelligence quotient, making it trickier for him to rob her blind or fool her simply. This leads me to believe that she either has a very specific heirloom she's going to bring back with her to South America during her romance vacay, or he's an organ harvester who'll leave her for dead in a hotel tub full of ice. Again, he's a con man that works across countries,
Okay.
a likely organ harvesting criminal of international and devastating proportions who lures women with his romantic nature. He knows what he is and he abuses it relentlessly.
Okay. Yeah. Not where I thought it was going. I don't know why. I guess I wasn't thinking the same way as he was. I thought maybe like if it was like seducing the mom of Riley. I thought it was more like I don't know. I guess because Riley's the main character. I guess my focus was on her, where somehow he was gonna like organ harvest from Riley. But yeah, now it's more of like the woman that he's seducing.
And what did he see in Riley's mom? Organs or heirlooms, it
But
doesn't
you
matter.
can
He
like
wants
ignore like what I
something.
said. I was just
Where
like
it gets
thinking differently,
interesting is
like
that I now
where it
recall
might
the only
be
other
going
theory
as.
I've ever seen on Riley's mother, and it's one by YouTuber Seamus Gorman, who claimed her to be a credit card thief because of the misspelling of her last name when we see it, and the name could mimic another character, Bonnie's mother from Toy Story. I'm not sure exactly what's going on here, but I do want to highlight the possibility that Riley's mother was already swindled, doesn't know it, and that, well, whatever's going on here is the result. Now, there's also the element of his genetics, but no, I don't think the pilot is Riley's true father. Jill Anderson most likely met him some time ago, but her memory of him is still quite bright, not fading in the slightest. It hasn't turned to fear as it should have if she's hiding Riley's true parentage. He's not her secret dad. All this means is that Jill is sort of dissatisfied with her life, sad, mainly, and this is the result, lamenting the good times. All of this memory talk makes me realize something peculiar, though, something I don't like talking about, the third-person memories in this film. How? How are these memories viewed from the third person? I can't find a source for it, but I've seen
never
it
thought about
claimed in
that too.
various places that the creators have
That
confirmed
is wild.
Riley's whole mind is a separate dimension
Alright.
from her brain. This should be obvious. I mean, these characters are not physically in her brain, and consciousness is not well understood by anyone.
I'm gonna guess like this will tie into the whole organ harvesting.
Significant wiggle room in films like this. Every single conscious entity, down to a single-celled organism, in my professional-ishly non-professional opinion, has a mind that exists as its own small universe in a different, non-spatial, non-temporal dimension of existence. The third-person perspective is that of reality itself, because every mind is a universe similar to Riley's, and based off of the way Joy behaves with Riley, it could be possible that Joy is Riley's dead ancestor, and assisting your descendant's life is the purgatory of Pixar. Well, anyways, make sure to subscribe for more theories. Again,
Okay, I
the
need to hear
second
that again.
morph
I guess that's
theory
where
will
he
be
ended off.
posted.
Okay, I just had to rewatch that like a few times. I'm not sure if I still entirely get it, but pretty much that memory is being viewed from like Riley's mind from a different reality, and also that Joy might be the ancestor of Riley. But yeah, I'm not sure if I understand that entirely, if that's really the case. But when it comes to the whole organ harvesting, I thought that's where he's going to go at the end, where like maybe, because usually that requires, some sort of surgery, like just pretty much taking things apart from the uh the person you're getting the organs from. I thought maybe, maybe for some reason, uh Like they would like I guess mess with the brain of Riley if she were to be like a target, and maybe she's seen like someone else's memories from that point of view. But no, it was like just uh something else more like magical and stuff with that memory, I guess. But yeah, overall, I think it's quite interesting. I think it's one of the more, I guess, in my opinion, one of the more like lesser theories. Like, I think it is interesting to think about, but I don't think it's really like out there for me. I think it's cool overall though to just hear him talk about. But yeah, next up we got the last one here, more Inside Out. Riley's brain was deleting Joy, which I can see. And with that whole movie, pretty much like we saw like I forgot the exact name of that emotion, if it was sadness or something, but yeah, pretty much that sad emotion. She was like trying to like take over like throughout the whole movie and make Riley sad. And I guess it might even be for this reason, or maybe causing this where it is deleting Joy. But here we go. I can definitely see it going that direction. Here we go. Let's
I've
watch.
only delved into this movie about once before, unless you count these 3 videos, but upon rewatching it again, I thought about something that, well, I don't know if you could call it outright meta, but it's strange and cool nonetheless. And it may not be as mind-blowing as my recent Incredibles theory or my Ratatouille theory, but it still makes an epic amount of logical sense.
Okay, here we go, man. Like this one, just from the title alone, it does sound more realistic. I can maybe see where he's going with it,
Hello,
maybe.
I'm the Theorizer, and this is a
Hello,
good
Theorizer.
Pixar movie. I love its style and whatnot, but it also has a lot of mysteries. I'm sure most people figured it out, but have you ever wondered why the core memories turn blue when sadness gets near them? Well, when I tried looking for more explanations on this, I figured out something quite meta about this movie, which proves that all of the hazards Joy and Sadness encounter aren't just hazards. They are strategic obstacles put there by Riley's brain in order to let Joy discover Sadness's true purpose. To prove this, let's start with the obvious. All
Okay.
throughout the movie, Joy is dominant and ruthless, which causes everything to go haywire in Riley's mind. Joy's obsession with the core memories sent her and Sadness up the tube. This is the first sort of obstacle which they encounter. You see, Riley needs to be sad. A massive event like moving across the country is very hard for her, and the fact
Yeah.
that she can't feel sadness like she needs to drives her to insanity. Her brain is trying to turn literally every memory blue to compensate for Sadness's absence at the wheel. This whole event with the tube was quite unfortunate, and I personally think that the brain intentionally did it to remove Joy from headquarters. Notice how the blue memory won't eject when Joy pushes the button, but then, right when all of the core memories spill, the tube finally comes down. Why does it come down right when the core memories have all spilled out? Because it needs to eject them out of headquarters and start fresh with the help of Sadness. And this is the sparking event for a trip that results in the need for Sadness. My theory is that the brain is doing all of this to correct itself.
Yeah,
to
that's what
teach
I
itself
felt
how to
like.
be
Like something
sad.
was
That Riley's
something grander
brain
was
is
controlling
creating
that.
all of these obstacles they encounter, so that in the end, Joy will figure out the need for Sadness. Clearly, all of the things like this tube breaking and the train of thought crashing are all just obstacles provided by the movie, conflict to fuel the story. But based off of all of the things Riley's brain already does trying to achieve being sad, it's not at all far-fetched to presume that it would create these obstacles and present such bizarre situations for Joy. Here's something I doubt you noticed before. Every single thing that happens in this movie that prevents them from returning to headquarters is so coincidental. They try to take the balance beam back to headquarters, but at that exact moment, Riley shuns her father, no thanks to anger, and the beam shatters. Later, they finally get on the train of thought, and it suddenly crashes no thanks to Riley's theft. She's literally losing her train of thought with this ridiculous idea, but that's not the point. The point is, it all happened coincidentally right as they were about to get back to headquarters. And hold on, think about that weird scene with abstract thought as well. They happen to go in there right as the workers turn it on. Bing Bong says that it's never turned on with him inside before, but how coincidental that it happens now, right when Joy enters it. This
A lot
is
of
not
coincidences, man.
convenience. This is strategic planning by the very brain itself. making these people move around and do their usual things. These convenient obstacles are put in place for Joy. She is ruthless and megalomaniacal. She's a little ball of manic psychosis. She needed to learn the value of the other emotions, and the only way to do that was via the memory dump, a place which almost every single obstacle has attempted to send her. The balancing act was above the pit, the train of thought nearly crashed into the pit, and when her largest betrayal and most selfish move, the recall tube incident, happened, the biggest punishment occurred, being temporarily forgotten. And this led to Joy discovering the need for sadness. Notice how pretty much every single thing that happens in this movie is easy. There's a quick, easy ride up to headquarters or a simple tube they could go through, but at the most specifically precise moments, something bad happens and causes them to flop. Not until Joy falls super far and learns the requirement of sadness does the single most unrealistic thing in history happen.
I will die
Creating
for
a
Riley.
sculpture of WTF and falling onto a trampoline. Everything else in this movie is unrealistically unfortunate, and in this is unrealistically fortunate. And the brain can do these things. It doesn't need to follow the laws of physics. But the fact that this works and this doesn't makes it all too suspicious. Joy actually needed to feel sad for the brain to function how she wants. And once Joy has gone sad, everything was a success. The lesson was learned. Want proof that the brain is forcing itself to create these obstacles?
Alright.
That it's forcing itself to be sad? All of the memories turn blue for one. Sadness feels oddly compelled to touch the memories for another, and the controlling board literally turns Riley into an emo when sadness doesn't occur. Just imagine how you'd feel if you needed to be sad, but it simply didn't work. Riley's mental breakdown was because she felt compelled to cry, but couldn't because sadness wasn't at the wheel. Needing to cry but not being able to, that would drive anyone to insanity. Maybe Outside In has more truth
Outside
to it
In.
than meets the eye.
If you're wondering why to go after Joy even though sadness is near, it's because sadness needs to learn the lesson to discover her true purpose. Now, yeah, I like this whole like theory so far. It kind of brings in like another element, which is like the brain and like how it works, and how like it's pretty much also like in control as well, not like just the emotions on this in their headquarters. But I can see that her cloud crying implies that she feels she is a screw up. She too needed to learn. Hmm.
Maybe all of this was obvious, you say. I would sort of deny that, but sort of agree with it. But what you have to accept is that it's an interesting idea. That
It
Riley's
is.
brain is correcting itself by punishing the emotions. Without sadness or her train of thought, Riley's sky went gray and the apathy took over the control board. So yeah, this is just a little something I devised when watching the movie for the umpteenth time, and I figured I'd share it with you guys, so boom. Until the next video, I'm the Theorizing Theorizer, who formulates theories on theorizable media, which tends to have less theories on those specific places of media, so I increased the theorizability standards for both myself and other theorists on movies, with less theories than the usual theorizing standard for theorizable media.
But like I said, he said like the audience might think it might be obvious. And that's how I kind of felt too with like the title of this whole video. But he just pretty much, I guess, also introduced a new element, which was the brain, and how like it's trying to also take control, and it probably knows like what it really needs, and that is pretty much like to, I guess, understand sadness for the characters. So yeah, there you guys have it. That is my reaction to The Incredibles fashion designer is a Yahtzee, Inside Out is about organ harvesting, and Riley's brain was deleting Joy. But yeah, when it comes to the Incredibles theory, I thought it was pretty interesting to think about too. Like I never really thought much about Edna's past, and this one does shed a new light. I think the accents I never really thought about. Like I knew there was something there. I don't know what the heck it was. And I guess based on like his findings, apparently they tried to go for like a half German and half Japanese. Then yeah, I can definitely see that. Like especially with the timeline. I didn't even know about the timeline too. Like I said, I thought it was like 1990s or early 2000s. Like pretty much, I think around when this movie was released, I believe. That's my guess. But yeah, apparently it's like around the 1940s to 60s, I guess. He said that the movie was taking place in 1962, right? But that's very interesting, man. Never thought about that. And then Inside Out is about organ harvesting. Yeah, I thought this was also interesting too. I thought at first, like I said, it was just a show that they watch, but I guess they somehow meet him in real life, where he harvests organs. I still don't know where like the organ stuff comes from. I just thought about that now. I mean, I guess I can definitely see it to where like if they do meet him in real life, that he is just pretty much trying to use the woman that he seduces, and has a script being laid out and stuff. But yeah, and also at the end, I thought he would go into a way where like somehow uh Riley's brain, because of the memory thing, where she would maybe somehow Riley was like one of the people they try to steal their organs from. That maybe, I don't know, for some weird reason that happens in the middle of the story, that they decide to like mess with her brain as well, since you know it's all about like surgery around that time. But yeah, I thought it would be like that because I just remembered a movie from like way back then, where I think when I was a kid I watched this movie where this kid, like, I think got into an accident, and then like the way to save him was to replace his brain with a cartoonist brain, like I guess a brain from a someone that loves cartoons or something. And then like when he woke up, this kid, like, he can see like cartoon characters, but only he can see it. I thought maybe it'll go that way, and that would like maybe explain like why she's seeing that memory from a different point of view, like a third person point of view, because maybe it's someone else like seeing them doing that. But yeah, I don't know. Anyways, yeah, with this theory here, I did feel like it was one of the more like lesser theories, in the sense that it doesn't feel like as grand as some of the other ones here. I guess because we're not really going into that like that trilogy that we normally go through, right? Like with the syndrome stuff and then the Emma Jean stuff, they usually have the trilogy like theories, and they're usually more important. Yeah, with these theories, they kind of feel like more like side questy, I guess. Whereas the other ones that do have like those trilogy of theories, or I guess double theory here with the Incredibles, like they feel more like the main quest, if I were to use like video game logic. And then we have Riley's brain was deleting Joy, which I can definitely see that being like a normal theory to have, like very straightforward, but I do like the element that he introduced with the brain. It's not really something that I think about, where like it's trying to, you know, the brain is pretty much controlling some of the functions of the world there, of like the emotion world, to make sure that they understand the need for sadness. But yeah, I like that too. Like with all the coincidentals, and also with this guy over here, I forgot his name, that imaginary friend. Like he said, like in that one area where it normally doesn't turn on, right? That abstract thought thing. Like yeah, it feels there's like a lot of coincidences, and I feel like with him, where he normally doesn't experience that place being turned on, that abstract thought, it feels like something is control, man. It feels like something else is in control. I like how the brain is pretty much that. Like some kind of like maybe god being or something. But yeah, I do like this theory overall. Anyway guys, yeah, that is pretty much it for this video. But yeah, we got 3 more like, I guess, side questy videos, if I were to use that term. We got why Coco's final death fundamentally terrifies you, which I guess I don't know if that spoils the movie for me. I've never watched Coco. I guess I have to watch it now for this theory. We got Up, the imposter theory, and how toys come to life. That is a very interesting one. Okay. Yeah, that sounds like a very interesting story, because it's something that you also wondered too about the toys. It's like they're alive. But yeah, next time we'll begin with this one here. Anyways, that is it for this video with these 3, which I thought were, pretty good or okay. So yeah, we'll see this next one here, and then finish off with the final one, this 1 hour video. So yeah, that'll be for now, guys. That's game.
Wake up, today's gonna be a good day. Wake up, today's gonna be a good day. Wake up, today's gonna be a good day. Wake up, today's gonna be a good